Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am your expert presenter today on Talking Heads. If you're new to our platform, welcome. We are thrilled to have you. We are streaming many places live, and then later we become a podcast on other platforms. But we'd love to have you join our community by going over to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, and also Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck on YouTube. Thank you very much. So today we're going to be talking about why most people resist change even when they say they want it. It's truly a contradiction because people talk about wanting change all the time, especially at the beginning of the year. We just came into 2026. I heard people at the gym talking about dry January and talking about losing so much weight and hitting so many milestones. And yet, as the year goes on, that desire to fulfill that wish sometimes starts to dissipate because people are resisting it on an everyday basis. So we have to find that clarity that really resistance, it's not weakness and it's not even laziness. It's basically a very predictable human response. So let's set expectations for this episode. We're going to talk about what's actually happening beneath the surface, but we're not going to talk about how to fix people, right? It's not our job to fix anyone. You can't fix me. I can't fix you. What does fixing mean anyway? Change basically fails more often than not because people are incapable, but because that change in and of itself threatens who people believe they were or who they are. And I'm going to be giving some examples of this. So do stay tuned as we continue on with our program here at Talking Heads. By the way, I'm not the only expert presenter on Talking Heads. You can find more expert presentations on our YouTube channels as well as our other platforms from our other expert presenters. So one would think that if we used logic, we would be able to create change. I always thought that if I did this, then the result would be that. If then this. And so I found that many times that was actually not the case. So for example, if we decide that we're going to make a commitment to do something, to change something in our life, we believe by sacrificing, changing our behavior, making certain commitments, that the end result is going to be a certain thing, a certain outcome. But information and insight rarely lead to action. So because we're aware of the fact that we made a commitment to do something, and if we do the commitment, the action that will result at the end is X, that doesn't mean it's going to happen because we actually have to move forward with the action. And what comes up for us as human beings is typically not logic driven. It's more emotionally driven. So we get so caught up in our emotions, and I've talked about this a number of times with elevated listening, is that we can no longer see the logic of it because we're so highly emotionally charged. Well, I gave up this, so I should have that. But that's not how it works. There is definitely a myth that if I understand it, if I can process it, I will change. That's not always the case. What happens is the idea that we introduce to our brain puts that above growth when we're talking about prioritizing our own safety. So it's kind of safety versus growth. Now, all of us have felt uncomfortable in situations. We know what discomfort is. And sometimes that discomfort actually feels more comfortable than changing. So I think it was my aunt who said, the devil you know is better than the one you don't know. So in our mind, we start prioritizing things, categorizing things, and we justify things. We actually come up with answers that we truly believe make sense because it's our self-talk about how we're processing things because we don't actually want to do whatever it is that's going to get us to change. But yet, think about this. When we were children, we didn't know about failure. We didn't know about judgment. At some point, someone said something to us. It could have been at home. It could have been at school. It could have been somewhere else. You can't do that. You'll never achieve that. You're not good enough. And so these things that we've heard when we were younger, as we get older, we start actually aligning ourselves with those things. And a great example I can give you is I love to sing. I'm always singing. I'm singing to myself. I live alone. I sing in the shower. I sing when I drive. I'm just always singing. And someone said to me, I wish you would stop singing because you have a terrible voice. And I never forgot that. And I thought, how is it that something that makes me so happy can make someone else so unhappy? So what ended up happening was when I was in public, I wouldn't sing. And I also loved to whistle. And I remember I had a boss who said to me, only low-class people whistle. And I never forgot that. And now that I'm older, I can actually process it and realize that it has nothing to do with me. It actually has to do with the other people. So at the age of 62, I went to London and I recorded my first and only single as of today. And it's called Please Listen to What I Say. And I was in a real studio with musicians and a backup singer. And I actually had the track mastered by Abbey Road out of London. And I actually cried when I saw that it was on iTunes and it's on Spotify, because I thought to myself, I still remember what I was told that I wasn't good enough. So what ended up happening that I ended up recording this track? I took vocal lessons. And I practiced what I actually understood to become a craft. And when I went to the studio, I followed the direction and the guidance that I was given by the people who do this for a living. And so what I learned from that is we can change. We are capable of changing, but we have to take the emotion out of it many times. Now, a second example I'll give to you is I've always been self-conscious about my weight. And I gained a few pounds, I would say 3 pounds over the last 5 years. And I actually used artificial intelligence to do a progression model as to how much I would weigh in 5 and 10 years. And so based on that, I decided to change my lifestyle. I really like chocolate and I really like Chardonnay. And I gave them both up. There was no drama. There's 4 bottles of wine in the refrigerator right now, and there's chocolate in the cupboard right now. There's no one to tell me what to do. I live by myself. I made an emotional decision based on logic, based on information that I had. And the information was, if you keep trending this way based on getting older, you will probably gain 2, 3, 4 pounds. Now, is that the worst thing in the world? No, but I thought to myself, that's not the way that I want to go. So I made a commitment to change. And so what had to happen in order for me to change? I had to make some choices. So I decided I'm doing intermittent fasting every day. There's no food consumption after 7 p.m. when I finished working out at the gym. And if it's a day I happen to take off, there's no food consumption after 4 p.m. So these are just choices that I have made. And as a result, I'm sure that it's water and inflammation, but I've lost 5 pounds, which is amazing. So clothes that I have that were custom made for me from years ago in the 90s, I actually can wear them. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to wear them for a long time because they are still pulling a little bit, but I see that I'm going in the right direction. I sleep well. So all of these things required a commitment to change. And again, I have no accountability partner other than myself. So I know sometimes we come up with these stories. I can't do it myself. Maybe you can't. And good for you for realizing that. You can actually hire an accountability partner. Or you could ask someone in your life to help keep you accountable, keeping in mind that sometimes our closest inner circle means well, but at the same time, sometimes jealousy creeps into it and they want us actually to fail, because when we are doing what we're doing, it shines a light on them and what they're doing. So as a result of what I've done, I no longer drink alcohol and I don't eat sugar. And I'm very happy. And if I were to go with someone for a dinner or to an event and they are drinking and they're having desserts, good for them. It doesn't bother me because my why is stronger. And so that is part of the reason that I'm doing this show today. We say we want to change, but yet our behavior, what we've done up to this point, indicates most times that we don't. We don't actually look in the mirror and take responsibility or be accountable for the steps that we've taken. We blame it on someone else. We blame it on something else. Now, if you're not aware of this, my apartment was flooded 4 days ago, and it's the second time in a year that my apartment's been flooded through no cause of my own, through the upstairs last Saturday before the reunion show when I was going to be streaming for 6 hours. A pipe burst in the unit above. No one's living there. There was no heat on. And so my apartment was flooded. So I'm currently broadcasting to you from my kitchen. So my studio is completely trashed. And I had to, as a business owner, I had to say, well, what am I going to do? Because people are lined up for this show on Sunday. The show must go on. So I adapted my behavior so that I could continue with my business and keeping my word and my promises. But sometimes we give ourselves a pass and we say, you know what, this excuse, that excuse. So what I'm asking you to do is, I'm asking you to think to yourself, how important is the change that you think you want to make? And what is your why? Is your why strong enough to carry you through the times when you don't feel like persevering? The times when you just feel like giving up and saying, you know what, I'll just go back to being the way that I was. It wasn't that bad. We start to rationalize it. And what I really like to say about this, sometimes we start making deals with ourselves. We start negotiating with ourselves and saying, well, it wasn't that bad the way that it was before. And you know what, I could probably live with myself the way that I was living with myself before. We're just making excuses. So it has to be a why. Your why has to be so strong, so concrete that no matter what happens, example, I just told you my apartment was flooded. I had a show to do on Sunday. I could have said, you know what? I'm going to have some Chardonnay. I'm going to have some chocolate. I'm going to eat a pizza. I'm going to do whatever it is so that I feel better about me. No, I didn't do that. What I did was I said, okay, here are the circumstances. What is the solution? How can I find the solution? And that's what I'm saying to you. If you have a why, something that you want to change, something you want to do, What is the solution for you to get from where you are today to where you want to go? I want you to be honest with yourself. What are the excuses that you're coming up with? Because believe me, we can come up with excuses all day long. If you really want something to work, what happens? It becomes a priority. Sometimes we hide from the priority because it could become a responsibility or an accountability. So we hide. We take the easy way. But all we're doing is letting ourselves down, keeping ourselves back. Because I believe every one of us has what it takes to take our life to the next level. And that next level is whatever you want it to be. Is it professional? Is it personal? Is it community-based? Is it humanity-based? Think about whatever it is. Now, one of the questions that I get quite often, and we have a comment, and I love these kind of comments. God loves you. Thank you very much. God loves you too. I love hearing positivity. One of the things that I think that people say to me on a regular basis is, Dr. Jacalyn, I don't know how you do everything that you do. How do you manage to fit it all in? I'm not a magician. I'm not Houdini. I'm very structured. I have a plan. I have a plan for everything I want to do. Now, are there temptations? Are there distractions? Of course there are. I don't let them in. And now that I don't have wine or chocolate, my focus is laser sharp. So I know when someone's coming to me with a bunch of excuses, and they're not excuses that I'm judging. I just know that they haven't come to terms with the fact that what they say they want to change, what they really claim they want to do, they're not committed to doing it yet. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to get there. That doesn't mean they're not going to have the commitment. What it means is they're not ready. How do you know when you're ready? Because you're willing to make sacrifices. You're willing to forego something in exchange for something else. What is that for you? I don't know. I just shared with you what it is for me. So we have 24 hours in a day, each and every one of us. And the thing that we have that is truly a gift is not just time, because that is a gift. It's the ability to make choices. We can make a choice. How do we want to spend those 24 hours a day? Now, I'll tell you what I will not be spending my time doing. I will not be posting negative things on social media. I will not be broadcasting shows filled with hate and anger. That's for other people to do. And to me, it is a waste of time because you can't get that time back. Instead, I spend my time volunteering. I spend my time mentoring, coaching, broadcasting, working out, taking care of my body, taking care of my mind. That is what I spend my time doing. So you have a choice of how you want to spend your time. But if you truly want to change something, you've got to be committed to doing it, regardless of what your spouse says, what your family says, your followers say, your community says. You have to be so driven that against all odds, you will make it happen. Do you have that conviction? What's keeping you from it? A good first step is to look in the mirror and see yourself fully and clearly and say, what do I love about myself? What am I open to reconsidering? What am I open to working on? And maybe identify 3 things. And when you identify those 3 things, think about what's coming up for you in regards to those 3 things. Is it something that someone else told you? You should do this. You should be this. Or is it something that's really important to you? Maybe you've never actually told anyone. Maybe it's a dream that you have. Maybe it's something that you want to accomplish before you leave this earth and you've never even told anyone. Now is your time. It's your time to take control and say, you know what? I am going to work on accomplishing this. Whatever that is for you, no matter how small, how large, you make the commitment. You say out loud, I am going to go for my dream. I'm going to go for my goal, whatever it is, and say specifically what it is you want to accomplish. And then acknowledge the fact that the journey may take you days, months, years. You may be on the precipice of accomplishing it, and something shows up and you think, oh my gosh, it's been 5 years and it hasn't happened. And you may be just ready to admit defeat and give up. And meanwhile, it was right there for the taking. There's so many stories and examples about this happening in history. So make a commitment to doing something. And then the most important thing is your why. Why do you want to make this change? How are you going to honor this commitment? What will you do when obstacles come in your way? I just shared with you that my apartment was flooded for the second time in a year. I could have easily opened the refrigerator and had a glass of Chardonnay. I could have easily ordered a pizza. I could have easily opened the cupboard and had chocolate. I didn't do any of those things. Instead, I said to myself, how can I set up my studio in some other part of my home so that I'm ready to broadcast on Sunday? And lo and behold, it is set up right now in my kitchen. I did not resort to old behaviors. Those old behaviors are no longer a part of who I am. So you have to say to yourself, what am I willing to let go of? Because when times get tough, what we typically do is we go back to the dysfunctional behavior that is keeping us from getting to where we want to go. So think about this. Think about your why. Then write the why down. Maybe put it somewhere. I remember when I wanted to retire from my corporate career in 2020. In 2019, I worked with a coach, and I actually wrote on a piece of paper, I will be retired from the name of my company by this date. And the date was March 6th, 2020. And guess what? I gave him my resignation 2 weeks to the day before that. So you can make anything happen when you are committed to it. Now, what happens when you decide that the goal that you were aiming for has shifted? Good for you. That's your emotional intelligence telling you that it wasn't that important. That wasn't your priority. So priorities can definitely change. And so we have to be flexible and open to that. What we don't have to be open to is external validation. We do not have to go and survey our family, our community. We don't have to go and survey people who are following us on social media and say, what are your thoughts? I was going for this goal and now I'm going for that goal. Why? Because we open ourselves up to being judged. And when we're judged, sometimes we are not ready for it. We're not expecting it. We're knocked off our guard, and therefore we don't know how to deal with it. So then we give up. I've written an entire book about judgment. It's called Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. And judgment is really everywhere. So if you're asking for someone to judge you, I promise you, you will get it. People will line up to tell you what they think. But you don't need external validation because you have everything you need right inside of you right now. You just need to believe it. When you believe in yourself, when you trust yourself, when you listen to your intuition, when you're coming from a place of love instead of fear, you are unstoppable. You have the power within you to do whatever it is you want to do to better yourself, to better your family, to better humanity. You just have to trust yourself and follow the process. My mother, who's not here anymore, she passed away. She used to say to me all the time, if only I had a magic wand. And I used to laugh because it just sounded, like, that would be great, Mom. That's a fairy tale. There is no magic wand. It doesn't exist. We have to do the work. And sometimes people will say to me, but it's been a week, it's been a month, it's been a year. Well, how did you get into the situation that you're currently in now? How long did that take? And if we look at something as simple as longevity choices that we have, we make our choices much earlier in life. We decide how often we're going to work out. We decide what we're going to eat. We decide what's the time frame we're going to eat. We decide when we're going to go to bed, how much water we're going to drink, when we go and get a regular physical, et cetera, et cetera. And so we bring ourselves into the situations that we're in. Now, I know what you're saying. There are disasters. There's war. There are accidents. Absolutely. These are all things we cannot control. I'm talking about what we can control. We have choice that we make every single day. So what I'd like to leave you with today, thinking about why it is that we're so resistant to change, is that right now, this moment, you can make a commitment to change the way you perceive change. Change is something that you can applaud. The ability to shift, the ability to have a different perspective, what a gift it is. How you use that gift and what you use the gift for is up to you. When you are ready to make a change, and it is a priority to you, external validation will not matter. Other people's comments will not matter. You will know that you are doing what you have committed to do for no one else other than you. Because before we can be anything to anyone else, we have to be 100% to ourselves. Thank you for listening. If this is your first time joining me on Talking Heads, I am here every week. Sometimes I'm here twice a week. We have over 60 TV shows on USA Global TV and Radio. If you would like to be a guest, you are more than welcome to do so. You can go to our website and I will bring up the information. Here it is, somewhere. I'm producing the show too, so just bear with me one moment. Here it is. You can go to my website, which is not on that one. It's on the next one. It is here. My website, which is usaglobaltv.com or drjacalyn.com. I also offer one-on-one group and individual coaching, and I also offer private advisory for senior leaders and people who are looking to learn how to create a strategy, change a strategy. They're looking to take their leadership to another level. If you're interested, you can purchase my books on Amazon or in any fine bookstore worldwide, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, as well as Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. All right. Thank you again for being here. I think we do have some comments. Let me see. Anthony Fazio, hello, good morning, watching on Facebook. Nice to have you here and have a fantastic day, my friend. Absolutely. And we have a comment. You absolutely should listen to criticism sometimes, though it can be healthy. Criticism is a strong word. I like the word constructive feedback. That's actually two words. Constructive feedback. When feedback is given after you ask for permission, would you be open to hearing some constructive feedback? Criticism can be taken in a very negative way and is also just, in my opinion, a form of external validation. So we always ask permission. Are you open to receiving some feedback? If I say to you, are you open to some criticism? No, I'm actually not. Are you open to some feedback? Absolutely. You give the positive feedback, then you give some feedback about the situation in a constructive way, and then you give positive feedback. So just think about framing it up that way, because otherwise you might put someone off thinking that you're judging them. Criticism, if I'm a critic, that is a negative connotation. I might be sitting in a place of judgment. We have movie critics, for example. They're going to say, hey, this is good and this is bad. We want feedback. What made this film so good was this. This film might have been even stronger if this. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So in my world that I live in, it's about finding the positive. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And we're going to go over to our sponsors, and we will be back with our next show. Thank you again for watching. Wherever it is that you are, if you could subscribe or like or comment, it would really be wonderful. I personally would really appreciate it. Thank you again. Bye for now.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time. Only here on USA, Global TVR, and radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.